Hello, friends. Welcome back to another episode of GM Philosophy in the morning. This is more like GM Philosophy midday because we are live streaming. Give me one moment to put this link in my Discord. This is going to be a good one, guys. We're going to talk about when D&D mirrors real life. Is there real life stuff contained within our games? This is really important. And I'm excited to talk about this. This is going to be a little different, guys. This is going to be a little different thing. All right, shared that link. We're good to go. Okay, so does D&D really mirror our real life experiences? I believe it does. Harry Weatherford, hello, sir. Hello to you. Great to see you in the chat. Awesome. We've already got the live stream crew showing up. Love it. Love it. So I've been working on some new projects, a lot of things going on in my life, guys. I am getting to a point where I'm going to level up. I'm going to level up in life. But it always comes with risk, right? When we level up in life, it comes with a risk. What is the risk? Well, let's take a step back and talk about D&D. What do you have to do to level up in D&D? Slay goblins, go into the dark dungeon, fight dragons. If you want to get the magic items, if you want to get the loot, if you want to level up, gain more abilities, more experience, you're going to have to take some risks, guys. And so, D&D mirrors real life in this sense. And our real lives mirror this experience that we go through in D&D. And here's my premise for today. I believe that too often we are perhaps willing to take the risks in D&D, but we're not willing to take the risks in life. And then sometimes, but this is, I think, a little more rare, we're willing to take the risks in life, but not in D&D. And the stakes are obviously lower. Like that second, the stakes are way lower. I'm way more interested in this idea that we don't take the risks. We don't put in the work. We don't fight the dragon in our real life. Like we would be prompted to in our TTRPGs. Why? Because it's actually dangerous. Blue Rose Lion is in the chat. Hey, Blue Rose, great to see you. William's in the chat. Pay the DM on the side an extra $50 to level. This is a path. This is a pathway. Sometimes we have to pay to level up. What is that like? That's like paying somebody to get you that job you want to have, right? It's like hiring the job coach or whatever to take your career to the next level. There's a lot of ways to pay to move forward in life, pay to level up. Maybe going to school, getting some skills, more marketable skills. Harry Weatherford says, hey, everyone. Hey, Harry, it's great to see you. I'm super excited about this one today. I'm trying to get back into the habit of live streaming. Live streaming is where it's at, guys. The online game is changing. I've been listening to a lot of Gary Vaynerchuk. And, the thing is that my channel, like every channel out there, needs live streaming like humans need oxygen. We can't just move forward in this online environment these days without doing some live streaming. Why? Because humans want to have human experiences. We want to connect. We're all living on our screens, watching videos created by people in the past. This is fine, but live streaming connects us more in the here and now. I also believe that this is why D&D is going to make a big comeback. We're going to experience a whole new evolution of this hobby, guys. I really believe this is the truth. Talked about this a little bit yesterday. I believe that we are coming into an age where humans are going to need this hobby, and it's going to become very important, not just for our creative outlets, people who maybe want to tell stories with other humans, people who don't want to write a novel, they want to tell stories with other humans, people who aren't going to be making films, but they want to create cinematic adventures, people who maybe want to tell the story of a character, but they don't want to do it alone. They enjoy the creativity that comes from bouncing the story around with other people. So there's a very creative, powerful element to TTRPGs, but also there's a social element. It's important because we need to connect with other humans, guys. This is very important. So I'm happy to see everyone here. We have already a much bigger crowd than we had yesterday, and I gave an hour's notice. My schedule is not solid yet, but we're getting there, guys. We're getting there. So If you have anything you'd like to talk about, drop it in the chat. If you have any questions, if you have any statements, drop it in the chat. Let's talk about it. We're here to hang out. I have like maybe a half hour, 40 minutes. It depends on if I'm ambitious enough to get my laundry done today. I may or may not get it done. That's okay. I've got clean clothes I can still wear. We're not in the danger zone yet. I'm not wearing 2-day old pants yet. You know, we still got some clean clothes. I still got socks, so we're not in too dire of straits. But I'm going to talk about this concept of does D&D actually mirror our real life experiences? And I kind of want to make this a little bit of a I want to talk a little bit about this from my own experience, but I also want to give a little motivation. I want to give a little encouragement to the people out there who might watch this or be watching this. William says, I think D&D does mirror the patterns of our experience, but more focus without the noise. There is a lot of noise in real life. There's a lot of noise. Somebody just give me a thumbs up. Awesome. Hey, everyone do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button. Show YouTube that this channel should grow. We need to grow this channel, guys. We got to level up to the next level. So hit that thumbs up button for me. Be awesome. Be awesome like the cool kids and hit that thumbs up button. Thank you so much. All right. So I agree, William. It does mirror the patterns of experience, but more focus without the noise. There's a lot of noise in our life. There's a lot of noise. There's a lot of nonsense, a lot of BS we have to wade through to get to the stuff we care about in this world. And I think it's always been that way. But I'm going to be honest with you, friends. I think it's getting more like that. I think that we are in a weird place in life, in the world right now, where we have a lot of humans who are very lost. And when I say that, I mean we do not live in a society here in the West, I think, that promotes um, what I might call like traditional, true to yourself kind of artistic values. Like, we're kind of encouraged to get jobs where we sit in a comfy, air conditioned cubicle, and we're afraid not to have the benefits that come with that, right? We're afraid to not have that steady salary, but at the same time, we're sitting in that environment, and the world around us is just going on and evolving. We're not out seeing mountains. We're not out swimming in the river. We're not out, you know, pursuing the things we really care about. We're sitting in our cubicles making other people money while we pull a salary that's much, much, much less than the amount of money we're making them. And we do it out of comfort and because we've been, I'm going to say it at the risk of sounding crazy, is because we've been programmed to do that. I've been thinking about this a lot, guys. I've been really thinking about this a lot. I've been thinking about this a lot for a long time, not just today, but this has become something that I've become more passionate about. And I'm going to be honest, I think I'm going to be more vocal about. I see the hearts going up. That is so awesome, you guys. Give me some heart reactions. I really appreciate that. Also, for those of you who have recently joined, smash that thumbs up button for me. Help me to grow this channel. We got to hit some thumbs ups so we can grow this channel a little bit. And drop a comment. Let me know what you'd like to talk about. If you want to bounce any ideas around, I'd love to hear it. If you don't drop me something to talk about, you're going to listen. You just hear me ruminate about this D&D mirroring real life. And I'm going to tell you what, it's only going to get weirder as I ruminate, because you're going to hear more of my honest thoughts about this. And there's a reason why I'm doing this right now. Is because I sense that the world is changing a little bit. Every year I get this sense we're headed toward a place where humanity is reaching an odds point with itself. And like I often say this to my kids. I always say, I do not want to die sitting in a cubicle in Springfield, Missouri, never getting to see the world. I say this all the time, and I mean it. I think that the reason I say this is because I kind of feel like this is the direction we could be in grave danger of heading in if we follow the program and we don't listen to our heart. We don't listen to what's true to ourselves. Okay. Blue Rose Lion says D&D gives you an opportunity to think about a situation without being in the situation. Yes, it does. Absolutely. Almost what would you do if given a chance to think through a situation? It helps one think what they could do. Absolutely. I actually think that is helpful. I think that is not only a feature of D&D that is fun to do, but I also think that's a feature of TTRPGs that is therapeutic and good for us. Like, I have worked through quite a few things. When I'm a player, I mean, I do this as a GM too, but it's way more visceral when you're a player, I think. When I'm a player, like, for example, um, you know, I think a lot about nature versus nurture. And when I'm playing my lawful evil Minotaur Bard, Grom Ezek, in Williams games, I've realized that there's a big theme that I play with in those games, which is, are we born good or evil, or do we choose to be good or evil? And I understand that there's a lot of context there. I'm not going to dive into that too deeply because that's not what this is about. But I have I have dived very deeply about those concepts in my own mind, in my own experiences. And let me tell you something, like, I have gotten a lot of processing and thinking done about that, playing Grom in those games. And I have reflected back on sessions, and it's not an empty experience. It's very deep, and it stimulates our brain. So, Blue Rose Lion, I think you're right on the money. William says, I'll be dropping some comments once I finish this juicy rib I'm eating. That sounds delicious. I have not had breakfast yet. I've been working. I've been eating that grind for breakfast and drinking my Rockstar. Um, anyway, lots of great, exciting things to come. Guys, if you haven't yet checked out my new game listings on Start Playing, check them out in the description. I have new games posted. I'm doing a straight theater of the mind, a pure form theater of the mind game. I've got a lot going on in Start Playing. I've got a lot going on, like, just in general behind the scenes. You're going to see and hear about some things coming up in this next month. We're making big steps. It's time to grow this channel bigger. Time to move to the next step. Time to level up, guys. So I'm really excited, and I'm very happy to see everyone here. So here's another thing is, I want to talk about this concept of risk. And I want to talk about this concept of, like, taking risks, going on adventures, basically the things we need to do to level up, not only in the game, but in our real life. It's funny how sometimes, and I love it when this happens, I'll be running a game of D&D, and players will actually be nervous for the outcome of their characters. Like, they'll legitimately be like, I don't really want to go through that door. What if there's danger in there? Like, we should really check for traps. We should really make sure it's not a mimic. These types of things. I think that this is so awesome when this happens, because it shows that they care about the story. But I'll tell you what I also don't really tend to see in games. I don't tend to see players not care about their characters in the sense of just letting their characters sit. Okay. It's like, I've really never experienced a case of, like, a player being so afraid of the world that they said, I think that it's just going to be safer if my character gets a job at this tavern and stays there for 50 years and saves up for retirement. Like, I really like that. I've never seen that happen in a D&D game. Obviously, it's because it's a game of adventure, and Dungeons and Dragons are literally in the title. If you're playing that, there's other ones too. Obviously, this isn't a strictly D&D channel, but I have almost never seen. I've never seen anything even close to that. I've seen the characters build a headquarters in one town, and then they do things. They, like, take over the town and they have their fort. And I've seen that happen. I had one long-term campaign that was pretty much all about that. Sparrow Point. They built themselves a monumental fortress in this little out of the way town, but it was because they had, like, a mission and they were trying to build their headquarters for the mission. But why doesn't that happen? It doesn't happen because players know, because they can see the world. They see beyond the fourth wall, right? Their characters are unaware of the fact that they are in this game with a set of predetermined rules, but the characters are aware of it. And the players are aware of it. The characters are not, players are. So what you have is a situation where the characters are driven by the players to go beyond the safe boundaries of their village they were born in, or the circumstances where they found some safety. They put on their armor, They buy the best weapon they can get. They grab their bag of holding and then go out and they have an adventure. Why are they doing this? Well, they want to level up. They want to experience adventure. They want to get the treasure. They want to get the gems and the gold and the magic items. They want magic armor and magic weapons. They want to overcome challenges. They want to become heroes or villains. Maybe they want to create a legacy for themselves. They want to create, it's like, let's tell a story. This isn't about keeping my character safe at all costs. This is about creating a story. That's what this is about, right? So I often feel like in real life, we sometimes forget that we are the character and that we do have the power to create an epic story with our lives. I really think and I'm getting a little, this is real lifey, but if we think about this in terms of D&D, I think that this is one of the things we can take from D&D. This is one of the lessons we can take. So, and the message here is pretty simple. Is there that thing you want to do in your life? Is there a goal that you have? Is there a new hobby you'd like to embark on? Is there a trip you'd like to take? Is there something you'd like to see? Is there a skill you'd like to learn? A lot of times we have these thoughts. They come to us. We feel them deeply. It's like, I want to go and see the pyramids. I really want to see the pyramids. Like, this is something I want to do. I want to see the Sahara Desert. I think it's the most amazing. You would be weirded out by how many hours of YouTube I've watched about the Sahara Desert, like travel videos of people going to the Sahara. And I look at the sand, I just think, oh my God, that place is so amazing. And then the pyramids in Egypt, I just think, oh my God, I cannot go my life without seeing the pyramids. Like, this is what I think to myself, right? But what if I never listened to that? What if I always said, but I can't afford it. It's not safe. If I go leave, what happens if something happens while I travel? What happens if my plane goes down? Like, and then if we're not careful, we sit our whole lives in a cubicle in Springfield, Missouri, and life goes by and we never told a story with our life. So the message here, and there's some great comments here. I'm going to get to these in a minute. But the message here is there a thing you want to do? Is there a thing you want to experience? Is there a story you want to tell with your life? Well, then I would encourage you, don't ignore that. Take steps to do that, friends. Take steps to do it. It doesn't mean we have to take crazy risks or be irresponsible, but it does mean that we maybe should pay attention to that voice inside of us that wants us to pursue things. I really believe that's the case. And I think that we should treat that better. We should be more true to ourselves in that sense. And so that's my message for today here. Blue Rose Lion said, here, let's go back up here a little bit. Let's see. I'm trying to find so Dirty Socks says, hey, what's up, y'all? Stretching those live stream muscles again. Subject. Hey, Dirty Socks, great to see you. The subject is, does D&D actually mirror our real life experiences? By the way, if you're new here in the chat, I want you to hit that thumbs up button. Help me out. Be cool like the cool kids. Hit that thumbs up button. Help me grow this channel. That is just a tiny thing that you can do that helps me so much. Thank you so much. Hit that. Smash that thumbs up button so that we can grow this channel, because we're making big moves in 2026. 2026 is the year we're going to take it to a whole new level. Dirty Socks says, but yes, we are stretching live stream muscles, Dirty Socks. I'm going to try to live stream every day. This channel needs live stream bad, because nowadays, I talked about this earlier, live streaming is going to become very important. I really need to be live streaming because this is where the real stuff happens. William says, watching movies and reading books, we usually have to find something in a character we connect with and see ourselves as, and we imagine ourselves as that character. I agree. I feel like I've learned more about myself and about life by watching Star Wars and watching Star Trek and reading Star Trek books than almost anything else. I feel like my whole set, like, you could probably trace my whole sense of morality, my whole code as a human, the way I conceptualize thought. I'm pretty sure that you could trace it back to like Spock. Like, I have read so much about Spock and I love him as a character, one of my favorite characters of all time. So it's like very interesting how that is so true. And in reading Star Trek, I often felt like confirmation. Oh, this I can relate to this character. He tries to be logical. He has this friction with other people. This is a problem I've had my whole life, guys. Tried to be logical and had friction with other people and friction with myself. Like that pull of emotion and logic has been a core arc in my life. So when I read about Spock, I was like, this character, I relate to this character so much. Um, Harry Weatherford says, speaking of D&D mirroring real life, my campaign that I've started is actually in this world after it has been changed by an interplanar war with Tiamat. Players are to go out and begin exploring. Okay, so it is this world, so the real world, but it has been changed by an interplanar war with Tiamat. I'm assuming the war is over. Players now go out and explore. So are they beginning like in a bunker? Like that's actually cool. They were born in a bunker. They're like, we don't go up to the surface. Why not? Because there are terrible things up there. We can't go up there. But then like 100 years or 1,000 years has elapsed. And then finally it's time. The new dawn is upon us. We are journeying forward from the bunker, but everyone's too afraid. So instead they're going to send out scouts. And those are the player characters. That's metal. That's metal AF. I love it. Harry Weatherford sounds awesome. I'd love to hear more. I'd love to hear more about that. Drop another comment. Let me know more about it. William says, because in life, we usually are stuck with the normality of working and caged to the chains of hourly work. Boy, ain't that the truth. We are. So here's the thing. Working by the hour is a clumsy way to measure the value of a person's work. But, I mean, it's clumsy. It's clumsy, but it's hard to find a better way to do it, right? But here's the difference, I think. The difference is whether you love it. The difference is whether it lets you pursue things you actually care about and make a difference in the world that you care about. There is nothing worse than working an hourly job that you don't care about, have no passion for, literally do not even believe in it. That to me is like basically torture on a soul level. That's how it feels to me when I'm doing that kind of things. And I generally can't stay in those environments for long because that is like the minutes begin to tick by with excruciating length. That's how it feels. And it sucks and it's awful. So when you say, we are caged to the chains of hourly work, that's what that makes me think about. Very interesting that you say it like that. William also said, D&D gets one step close by having a deeper point of view and agency to break free as an actual character to do that. Yeah, no, totally. I agree. I think that's one of the things that we love about TTRPGs is that we can live adventures that we would never be able to live in real life. Like literally, seriously. Like, yeah, I might be able to have a certain amount of power over my life, but I will actually never be a Leonin barbarian, right? who's trying to kill dragons. Like that's actually a reality I will never have the opportunity to pursue unless I do it in a different context, like in TTRPGs. That's awesome. So you're totally right. And we can learn about ourselves this way. We can learn about ourselves this way in the sense that when we get to live through those experiences, this teaches us about ourselves. It teaches us to think about life in more extreme ways because that pushes things to the extreme, right? It's a big difference between navigating an audit by the IRS and like navigating, like in your magical world, the wardens doing an audit of your magical university, and then they're just gonna eviscerate students who are found to be, or teachers who are found to be not in compliance. Like those are two very different levels of extremity, right? So it's very, very awesome. Very cool. Harry Weatherford says, 100 years after the end of the war in a small village built upon the old bones of LA. Ooh, are they going to climb out and find okay, I know this is where it would go. Are you going to let your characters harness nuclear energy when they find a broken down nuclear reactor? Because at my table, that is 100% what would happen. They would go on an absolute crusade to revamp nuclear energy because they'd want nuclear weapons and they'd want nuclear energy. And they'd probably try to build a backpack version and then make themselves into like mech cyborg warriors, probably. I 100% know that that's what my characters would do. And if there's magic in the world too, that's a double dose of nasty. Is your world? I'm assuming the world is going to be magical. I'm assuming you're playing like a typical high fantasy, but it's just built in the bones of the previous civilization. That's metal AF. I love it. Um, Harry says those can be found. Yes, my man, my man. William says, from my life experiences, I bring in those patterns into the game. Though there are some things nowadays I don't try to bring since it is a world still different from ours. Oh, for sure. Yeah, no, it is. And there are things that, man, there are things I don't want to deal with. Like, I don't necessarily want to role play through doing my taxes in D&D. It's like I do enough, man, I do that enough in the real world. I just don't want to do that in D&D. But I do want to, but it's also surprising the things that I do want to do in D&D. Like, for example, Grom Izek's goal, his ultimate goal of helping all the kingdoms create a centralized gold currency. Like this, like that's kind of nerdy, but like for some reason, I love that story arc. And so that's like a fun thing to role play through, which might seem weird, but I've had players like they wanted to role play through they wanted to role play through like having a garden. Like that's a fun thing. Um, you wouldn't think that that'd be a fun thing, but then we also have cozy games where people that's the whole goal of it is for people to like build a little village or build a little garden or run their little zoo. And it's like fun because it's like there's something kind of fun about that. And then we have things like roller coaster tycoon where people are building roller coasters or the Sims, right? It's so interesting what we find pleasure in doing. There's farming simulator, right? Um, very interesting. You might think, why would someone want to do that? There are literally fast food simulators now. I think to myself, why in the world would anyone want to play a fast food simulator? But people do it. It's not up to me to discuss or to decide what people should enjoy. um, Harry says those can be found. Yes, high fantasy and tech sprinkled in. Heck yeah. When you say tech sprinkled in, it's going to be like a little dose of Chernobyl sprinkled in. Lots of radiation. This is sounding more and more like Fallout, but with magic to me is what it's going to be. People are going to be like wearing motorcycle helmets and trying to. I mean, it's probably been too long. All of the baseline level of stuff is probably like gone. I'm wondering if the top of the world looks natural, and if they go underground, they'll find ruins. Like it kind of depends on how much sediment there's been. If Tiamat was in the world, there might be a lot of sediment. I have a feeling there's a lot of fire, a lot of brimstone and chaos. Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining the live stream. Do me a favor, smash that thumbs up button, help me grow the channel. Be awesome, be cool like the cool kids, and hit that thumbs up button while we talk about D&D and spread this message of TTRPGs and how they are awesome and important for the world. I really appreciate everyone being here. I'm so pumped to see everyone here. Smash that thumbs up button. It'll make me super happy. Thank you. Also, make sure to check out my start playing game listings. If you're interested in playing games with me, find all my game listings. They are in my description. I would love to see some of you jump into my games. William plays in my Monday Darkest Dawn campaign. Super awesome. Just had a couple more signups this morning to a couple of my other new games. Super excited about that. Let's see. All right. Let's go to William's next comment. I'd say D&D was easier back in the days compared to present times. I really have to tread on eggshells for some pro games. Really? Do you really feel that way? I'm actually super interested in hearing more about that. I don't generally feel like I have to walk on eggshells. Maybe I should. Maybe I should feel like I have to walk on eggshells. William says, Fate is teaching Grom the awareness of good and evil, or at least the death goddess is. No, totally. Yeah. And I think that this is a fun lesson because it's also the role play with the other characters, like Grom not having people of his own, right? Because he was kind of shunned by the Minotaurs, but also, now that he's with the orcs, his experiences with the orcs have helped him find a home amongst the orcs. So this is also a thing, like Grom is very open to newcomers because he has always felt like kind of the strange one out, but he's finding identity amongst the orcs, which is really interesting because the orcs are so different from him. They're a culture of honor and like, Minotaurs are like a combat prowess kind of like race, but it's interesting that like the orcs, he sees them as more sophisticated. They're like a better version of the Minotaurs. He prefers them. He actually thinks the orcs are the he's actually kind of racist. He believes orcs are the superior race in the world, as far as he can tell. He thinks they're the best of both worlds. Just enough sophistication, just enough savagery to be the perfect blend. But anyway, that's just his humble opinion on the matter. Dirty Socks says, I think it's quite right what William states here. It's basically a form of escapism. We can do whatever our fantasy comes up with the agreed limits we have discussed in session 0. Oh, yeah, totally. No, totally. Escapism, it is a form of escapism, but I think it's also more than that. See, I think of video games as escapism, but it's very rare that video games actually impact the way I see the real world. It's actually pretty rare. There are maybe some games that have flirted with making me think deeply like that, but it's not like TTRPGs. TTRPGs have made me think so much deeper about the world sometimes because of the complexity, and that's because it's all humans creating together. Right? It's amazing. Expensive Cucumber says cheese. Heck yeah, Expensive Cucumber. My favorite cheese is Swiss. I love the Swiss cheese, a little salt and pepper. Put that on everything. Put it on absolutely everything. Harry says, more like the Shannara Chronicles. That's cool. That's super cool. I like that. Dirty Socks says, I think the GM, in coherence with the players, should push the possibilities to maximum extent that is supposed to be possible in their fantasy setting or whatever setting you're playing. The GM, in coherence with the players, should push the possibilities to maximum. I agree, and I think that's super fun when that happens. I think it's really fun. I think that when the GM is open to letting the players be super creative, and they're also willing to drop crazy things in front of the players, and then give the players a chance to bite on them, I think that this makes the game better. This makes the game the best it can possibly be. So I totally agree. Harry says, I really like D&D because of the fact that it does indeed make you think things through. Yeah, I agree. I like D&D. I think D&D is a great system. Sometimes it's a little combat board game-ish for me on the combat side. Sometimes I think it's a little bit rules light on the role play side. But in general, I love the system. And I dare say, I'm going to say this. This might be a controversial thing to say. I kind of think D&D 5e is the best TTRPG we've come up with as humans. I might get flamed for saying that. I know there's a lot of Shadow Dark fans in here. I think Shadow Dark seems awesome. I've never played it. I would probably love Shadow Dark if I played it. I might even say Shadow Dark was the best. I don't know. But I feel like Classic Marvel was a little too clumsy. It wasn't quite right. I feel like D&D 3rd edition was really good. D20, like the D20 system has taken TTRPGs to a level of, I would say, accessibility that just didn't exist before, in my opinion. I think that D&D 3rd edition was too numbers heavy. I think 5e does it better. Expensive Cucumber says cheddar on top, though. I like a good cheddar, not aged. As it starts to get aged, it gets a little weird for me. Good quality cheddar, though. None of that American stuff. No American cheddar? I live in America. I feel like I've probably only eaten American cheddar. So we may be talking about two different things. You might have knowledge of cheddar that exceeds my life experience. Where are you from, Expensive Cucumber? And is the cheddar there of sufficient quality? I'm assuming it is. William says, D&D is the best. Give me great ideas for my novel writing. Heck yeah. That's awesome. It's the best ideas for novel writing because there's more than one human in the mix telling a story. And it always gets better, unless you're just with someone lame who drags the story down. But I've actually found that to be quite rare. It's very rare that other humans don't contribute positively to the story. They usually make it more interesting, if anything. Sometimes too dramatic, sometimes too different. Sometimes they take it in directions that are so crazy that they make everyone else uncomfortable. But is the story any less so? No, that probably creates the most interesting stories. It's just maybe not the most fun play experience. That's why you got to get rid of those problem players, the ones that are doing crazy stuff. Harry says, I just think 5e is a little too streamlined, but I would agree. Interesting. Too streamlined. I feel like whoever was in charge of just like making it streamlined, if they heard you, they would say, "Oh, that's such a compliment." Expensive Cucumber says, I'll just say somewhere in Europe. The cheddar is very sufficient. I'm very off topic here. No, it's fine. Expensive Cucumber, do you usually watch my channel, or did you just find this live stream due to the YouTube gods showing it to you? Dirty Sock says, limit to the ideas are the combined fantasy, which gives so much sparks for so much fun ideas. Those are your TTRPG jewels. Limit to the ideas are the combined fantasy. Yeah, that is the limit. The combined fantasy of what everyone is doing. William says, Valenti's story in the next novel. We need to get the next campaign. Yes, we do. And we're going to get to it. I got to start planning my next live streamed campaign. I'm going to do another live stream campaign. Right now, all my games are private, but we need to do a live stream campaign. I'm going to be recruiting for that probably in March. Got to get it rolling. Got to get another live stream game going because it's important to get that live stream gameplay out there. I really think it is. I think that this contributes to the community. I think it's a good thing for me to showcase kind of what I'm doing as I run games. This helps me to show people examples of what I'm doing and stuff like that. Very, very good. All right. So I want to briefly go back to the core idea here. Does D&D actually mirror our real life experiences? And I know that a lot of you who are in the chat here have already heard me say this, but I want to say this for the people new in the room. I just want to say that, I think it's very important that we use our experience on this world to do something meaningful, something we care about. In D&D, we move our characters towards the things they care about. Our characters, they embark on a quest of heroism. They embark on a quest to become the best versions of themselves. They're leveling up. Maybe they're flawed, but they're seeking the treasure. They're seeking the magic items. They're fighting the dragons, right? They might even be a little cowardly, but even cowardly, they're brave. They're going out there. They're doing it. Now, I want to challenge us as humans. Are we doing this in our lives? Are we taking on the adventures that we want to take on? Are we challenging ourselves to go out and level up and to be the best versions of ourselves we can be? And sometimes, friends, that's risky. That's risky. But is it actually riskier to take chances pursuing your path? Or is it riskier to stay put thinking, I will be safer if I stay right here? That is the most dangerous thing of all, because security is actually a great illusion. It's a great illusion, I believe. Sitting still because we're afraid to brave the dangers of the journey. This is not actually safe. This is actually the most dangerous thing we can do, because then we're gambling not just with the consequences of adventure, but instead we're gambling with the very purpose of our existence, which to me is too great a gamble. That's what I feel about that. Hit that thumbs up button. Help me grow this live stream, grow this channel. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me today. We're getting deep. We got some comments to catch up on here. Also, make sure you check my Start Playing game listings. Links in the description. Join one of my games. Got some great games coming up. Making big moves in 2026, guys. We're going to get some serious gaming done. We're going to get some serious stories told. Going to get some serious character arcs played out. There are stories in everyone's imaginations that are just waiting to be told through the role play of their characters. We need to get these played out, guys. This is very important for life. Yeah, I see some hearts going up. Thank you so much for smacking those hearts. Do funny, awesome, cool things on my screen. When you hit the hearts, little hearts float up, and it's awesome, and I love it. All right. Now let's go back to, let's see here. William, well, we talked about that one already. Okay. Expensive Cucumber says, got the stream randomly. Seems interesting. Not sure what the channel's about, though. If it's GM stuff, I'm happy because I'm actively running my first campaign. Look at that. YouTube showed you the proper thing. Expensive Cucumber, this channel is committed to empowering game masters to run better games. This is my midday live stream hangout, and I also publish a lot of videos. You should check the channel. Maybe you'll see that there's some videos you might be interested in, or you can just stick around, and if another video pops up, you can check it out. In either case, I'm happy to have you here, a fellow GM doing fellow GM stuff. Love it. Let's see. We got SKWPG in the house. Stuart in the house. Finally caught a live stream. Better late than never. Absolutely. Super happy to have you here, Stuart. William says, speaking of, just finished my whole outline for my back to YouTube videos based on AI. Going to do the first video today. Heck yeah. Make sure to drop that in the GM Philosophy Discord. By the way, if you haven't been cool like the cool kids and joined the GM Philosophy Discord yet, do so. Link to that is in the description, guys. It's free. We are almost 600 GMs strong, doing all kinds of big stuff, awesome stuff. Make sure you jump in there. William, make sure that you drop that video link in the Discord so that we can all check it out. I'm super pumped for you to get back to YouTube. I think that's what I did. Selfishly speaking, I wish that's what you would do, and I'm happy to hear that you're making steps in that direction. Harry says the issue with to streamline is that there are some things that just get left out and behind. Yes, this is true. Absolutely. And some of those things may be bad. Some of them may be good. Like when they go changing the reincarnate spell on us. 3rd edition reincarnate was peak reincarnate glory. You could become an animal. You could reincarnate into like a squirrel or a badger. Now it is just lame. You just become another humanoid form. In my games, homebrew rules are if you go to like an old school spellcaster and they cast reincarnate, I'm probably pulling out that 3rd edition book. You're probably coming back as a badger or a deer or a monkey. I love God. Reincarnate in 3rd edition is such a magical spell. It's one of my favorite things. When people would use reincarnate 3rd edition, I loved it so much. Dirty Socks says, I can understand that you were triggered to write novels on these ideas, William. It was my initial idea. One day when I have some time, sounds really fun to write something like you did on the campaign. Of Josh. I'm not sure. Let's see. Novels. Oh, the campaign of Josh's. Yeah. No, totally. Dirty Socks, that'd be awesome. I would love to see that happen. And Dirty Socks, we still haven't played together. We got to play a game together. Even if it's a one shot, we got to do it at some point. Harry says, or rather streamlining the wrong aspects. No, totally. William says, fear kills life by shrinking it. Yes, it does. In fact, my tattoo, I literally have this tattooed on my arm. Fear is the path to the dark side. Got that tattooed in my 20s because I realized fear was killing my life. Stuart says only 5 likes. Come on, all. Yeah, hit that like button. Thank you so much, Stuart. I really appreciate that. This is the best way to help me grow the channel, get my content shown to more people, because when you hit that button, YouTube realizes, hey, guess what? These videos might be more interesting to other people too. Maybe I should show them to them. So that's awesome. So do me a favor, smash those like buttons. Also make sure to check out my Start Playing Games listings in the description. Play games with me and be cool like the cool kids. William says comfort kills life more quietly. Totally. No, absolutely. Comfort does kill life more quietly. It's like, man, it feels so good to be comfortable. And then we just want to stay there. And then we don't go on the adventure. This is such a bad thing. Dirty Sock says, thumbs up, y'all. Sign up with the Discord. We are discussing awesome stuff. Yes, we are always discussing awesome stuff. So you should definitely jump into the Discord with us and hang out, where we have conversations like this. And we have contests and things like that. Really awesome. Dirty Socks is one of the lead moderators and a member of the council. Expensive Cucumber says, possibly going to run a session on Saturday, and I need to prep combat maps in the VTT and prepare random NPC names for improvisation. Oh, yeah, my man. That's what I'm talking about. Random NPC names for improv, and then those VTT maps. Big challenge. Expensive Cucumber, what are you using to make maps? And maybe you should connect with William, Dungeons & 20s, because he is literally doing stuff, big work on creating amazing VTT maps. You should see some of his maps. We got to do a live stream, William. I got to invite you on a live stream one of these days so that you can show people what you've been working on. If you talk about it and show it in your videos, I'll share those, because William's going really high fidelity on maps, really creating some impressive stuff. And that's not where I'm going, by the way. If anything, I'm going just straight normal graphics, maybe even leaning more toward theater of the mind. That's kind of my niche. Flip Out says, being relatively new to D&D, I find it fun to compare my characters to the common stereotypes. When you describe the concept of a barbarian to me, I think of Jason Voorhees, not He-Man. Oh, okay, interesting. I was never a big He-Man person. Like, that was a little before my time. I'm aware of He-Man, but I don't think I've ever watched a full episode of the cartoon. I've never read one of the comic books. Expensive Cucumber says, never mind, I didn't plan combat, but need to have a map just in case. Also using Roll20. Nice. I use Owlbear Rodeo. Roll20 is awesome. I think if Owlbear Rodeo didn't exist, I would be using Roll20. But I kind of feel like with my tech challenged brain, Owlbear Rodeo suits me in the sense that it is so simple. Roll20 definitely gives you more cool stuff to do. And it's better actually, but it is more complex, which is why I choose Owlbear Rodeo. But for VTT Roll20, awesome. William says that'd be cool. Yeah, heck yeah. Harry says, I'm hoping to go live tonight on VTT, do some prep. Can always use help with ideas. Oh, nice. Harry, if you have not joined the Discord, join the Discord, and then you can post your link in the promotions channel so that people can join your live stream. That would be awesome. William says Roll20 is my fave. I think I might do another video on how to use it. Nice. Harry says Owlbear Rodeo is good, but I prefer Foundry. Oh, okay, so you're one of those. You're one of those Foundry guys. Foundry is super cool, but it is very. I see Foundry as being very tech heavy. That's how, and I see it as very challenging. I've never even run on Foundry. I was a player, and literally it took the GM like 15 minutes of helping me go through it just to set it up. So I see Foundry as being very tech heavy, but there were really cool things you could do in Foundry. It is better, but also more complicated. That's my 2 cents on the matter. RPG Gen Exile says Roll20 is awful. Foundry VTT for the win. Okay, another Foundry person in here. I understand. I get it. I totally get it. You guys are going in a different direction, and this is why having variation in the craft is so important, because there are people who are going to go in these different directions, and that is a good thing. Hit that thumbs up button, guys. We only have 6 thumbs ups. Let's try to get to 10 thumbs up buttons before the end of the stream. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. This helps me grow the channel, helps my content get shown to more people. I appreciate all of you. Thank you for hanging out with me talking. Stuart says, I've tried all of the VTT apps. Most good, but really stop thinking about them. Start with someone simple like Beyond Maps. I'm using it now and it works just fine. Beyond Maps is actually good. The only thing about it that I've heard, and I've never run it as the GM, I've been a player on Beyond Maps, but you can't like just randomly throw a token down there. You have to connect it to a stat block, and I've heard that's clunky. I don't know if I would care, but Beyond Maps does seem awesome, and it actually looks great, and I thought it was cool. Anteater 2022 says, how do you feel about Inkheart Map Maker? Looking for a way to make maps. My campaign is in person. I've never used Inkheart. My only experience with map making is either I've used AI to make the basis for maps, and then I use Incarnate to go back over them and add things. But I don't know, man. Incarnate is kind of complex for me. I feel like it's way smarter than me, and I would have to put a lot of effort into trying to get better with Incarnate to actually use it to its full potential. I almost think I need to find a simpler tool. I'm not a designer, guys. Like I'm like I'm really struggling here. I used to go all in person, hex grid, draw it out by hand. That was my jam. And honestly, I would ask a player to draw it out because any of my players would do a better job than me. I'm not an artist, guys. William says Foundry is pretty crazy. I was a player and just threw in the towel, but nice effects. See, that's kind of how I felt about Foundry a little bit. But there are people who love that kind of thing. They want more tech integration. They want to do more fun things. Harry says, can't argue there about Foundry. RPG Gen Exile says, don't get me wrong, Roll20 is OG. Opened the doors for many VTT, I believe. Yeah, the first VTTs I ever played on were on Roll20. Harry says, Dungeon Alchemist is a fun map maker. Maybe I should check that out. I kind of feel like I've heard that. I feel like people have suggested that to me before, but I haven't checked it out. Stuart says, I prepare all my tokens in Homebrew before the session in Beyond Maps, but you can definitely search for creatures on the fly and throw them on the map. So simple. Maps is the kiss. I like it. I believe that. I feel like that is a good workaround and would definitely work. Totally. Anteater says, lol, I meant incarcerate. I don't know what. Incarnate. Okay, gotcha. We're having like it looks like autocorrect is coming for us. William says, I just watched Captain Robert. He is good with Foundry. Dungeon Alchemist is way better now too, with the ability to layer it. Okay, nice. Yeah, you can do layers in Incarnate, but I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I like make things. I don't know what the heck I'm doing half the time. I don't have I don't know what half the tools do, and I feel like I feel like I would need to watch like 2 hours of tutorials and put real elbow grease into learning how to use it right. But there are people out there who are really good at making maps. I am not good at 99% of things. I'm really good at the 1% of things I do really well. I am just not good at making maps. Not that I couldn't get better, but there are people out there who are really good at making maps. In the future, I'm hoping I can just like commission all my maps. I've already commissioned one map. I had John Haney from the Discord draw me a map of my largest city, Amaranthine, which I'm still working on. I need to overlay it with some things, but that was awesome. So yeah, heck yeah. Expensive Cucumber says, I need a good massive temple map, but I have no idea how to start. I would start in Midjourney and say, create me a top-down D&D styled massive temple map with reddish stones with a large monolithic altar in the center, D&D battle map, Dungeons and Dragons style artwork. And then I would have it would pop up 4 options. I'd pick my favorite, and then I would drop it in Incarnate and like play with it and like erase or add things. Also, if I needed to remove things from it, I'd throw it in Canva, erase, move to Incarnate, put stuff in. That's how I generally roll. Works pretty well, but the problem is I have trouble actually creating what I visualize. So I play the game more of like accepting what I get and making it work because I have to, because all these tools are smarter than me. William says, depending on how large and layers, I usually sketch out first, then detail it. Nice, nice. That's spoken by someone who actually makes good maps. Expensive Cucumber says, using AI is immoral, though. I've done so many videos about that. Like I did a whole video about that it got me extremely flamed on the channel. You can check it out. I don't even remember what that video was called. If you search like GM Philosopher AI, you'll see like 5 videos where I talk about this. I don't feel like having the AI is immoral debate in this live stream. We're 51 minutes in talking about how D&D mirrors actual life experience. Are the robots going to replace us as the dominant species on this planet? We're going to merge with them. The machines are going to absorb us like we absorbed the Neanderthals. That's what's gonna there's no question about that. That's gonna happen. I feel like. Is that a bad thing? I don't know that I would call that a bad thing. I don't know, guys. Like we have to be open minded about this evolution business, right? I love humans. I love humans so much. I love humans. I'm glad that I have gotten to live in an era where we are still pure humans. Like we have not yet fully integrated with the machines, but I do believe it's coming. I think it's coming. I think people are going to look back and be like, what? There were humans who literally had no tech augmentations. They would just let humans live their lives without integrating tech into like their DNA. I really think that that's going to be a thing. Stuart says, I love AI. I use ChatGPT for helping me with dialogue and scripting, especially if I want a certain racial or species twist. I use Night Cafe to help with images. Love AI. Humans meh. Oh, that's funny. That's really funny. I do love humans. I have to say this. William says I'm 50-50 with humans. It's so funny. I love that. I love how in the same chat we have Expensive Cucumber saying using AI is immoral, and then we have Stuart saying humans are meh. I think that's so funny. The diversity on this topic in this community is so awesome. I love it. And for the record, I don't claim to be right all the time about the AI stuff. I'm willing to listen. I have my views. I have my opinions. I've made videos about this. I've been flamed for my opinions. I've also been supported by other people who agree with me. It just is what it is. It's like going to be a hot topic for debate for the next 10 years. Just wait for this is coming. Wait until your grandchildren are dating and want to marry a fully AI humanoid that you literally will not be able to discern the difference of. They're going to be walking amongst us, doing jobs, and they're going to be dating our grandchildren, and you're not even going to realize it until they are invited over for Thanksgiving dinner. And then you're going to realize that Johnny Like good looking Johnny with the perfectly chiseled body is actually an AI robot. And you're going to be like, we talked about this, Cindy. I told you I'm not okay with you dating them, those things. And it's going to be a whole thing. There's going to be a whole frontier of like legalities surrounding marriage between humans and robots. I'm telling you, it's coming, guys. William says, trees are pretty cool though, not as dangerous as humans sometimes. Expensive Cucumber says, using AI is totally immoral. Anyway, fully unrelated. What was that prompt you suggested? The prompt. Oh, that's so funny. That's actually really funny. Anteater says, I only use AI to organize my thoughts. It's not allowed to put its own input in, and then I rewrite it to use for my campaign. Occasionally asks its names. Yeah, yeah. William says, AI is just another conflict in life, just like D&D. We always move forward by conflict. We do always move forward. That brings us right back to the point. Does D&D actually mirror our real life experiences? It's an open-ended question. Obviously, the answer is yes, but to what extent? The choice is up to us. Are we going to choose to level up and go on the adventure and find the treasure, or are we going to sit in the tavern and just stare at the door the whole time? This is the real question of life, I feel like. All right, hit that thumbs up button for me one more time, you awesome people. I really appreciate you. And with that being said, that's going to be a wrap for today. See what I did there? Yes, William, closing the story loops as usual, bringing them to a satisfying conclusion. William high key GM'd this chat, and we didn't even realize it. That's what just happened. That's what just happened. All right, guys. I'm gonna head out, maybe do some laundry. We'll see if I have time. I appreciate you all. I'll see you all on the next one. I'll post in the Discord when the next live stream is gonna be. Trying to give you a couple hours notice, but we're getting there. We're getting close to having a cohesive schedule. So I appreciate all of you. Have a good one. Catch you on the next one.